The girl burst through the glass doors of the police station barefoot, mud streaked across her legs, hair tangled and wild, eyes wide with a terror so raw it silenced the room. Her voice cracked as she screamed for help, words tumbling over each other until they finally made sense. She said her sister was in the woods. She said they hung her from a tree. She said she didn't know if she was alive. For half a second, everything froze. Then training took over. Chairs scraped back, radios crackled, and officers were already moving before she finished her sentence. An officer dropped to his knees in front of her, gripping her shoulders gently but firmly, asking her to breathe, asking where, asking who. She pointed toward the highway, sobbing that it was near the old quarry road, deep in the trees where no one ever went anymore. Her knees buckled, and another officer caught her before she hit the floor. Someone wrapped a blanket around her. Someone else was already pulling up maps. The station shifted from routine to emergency in seconds, the air thick with urgency and disbelief. Within minutes, patrol cars screamed out of the lot, lights flashing, sirens tearing through the afternoon. Dispatch called it in as a possible attempted homicide, multiple suspects unknown, victim status unclear. More units joined from neighboring districts. Detectives abandoned desks. K9 handlers grabbed leashes. Even officers off duty began calling in, hearing the tension in the dispatcher's voice. This wasn't treated like a missing person case. This was treated like a race against time. The girl rode in the front seat of a cruiser, gripping the dashboard, giving broken directions between gasps. She kept saying she should have stopped them, should have fought harder, should have screamed louder. The officer driving told her none of this was her fault, told her the only thing that mattered was getting there fast. Behind them, a line of vehicles cut through traffic like a blade, every second counted in heartbeats. When they reached the dirt road, the cruisers slowed, tires crunching over gravel, radios hissing with updates. The woods loomed thick and dark ahead, branches twisting together like they were hiding secrets. Officers spilled out of cars, forming teams, weapons drawn but lowered, eyes scanning everything. The girl pointed toward a narrow trail barely visible through the brush. She said that's where it happened. She said she could still hear the rope creaking when she closed her eyes. They moved in fast but careful, boots sinking into damp earth, voices low and controlled. AK-9 caught a scent almost immediately and pulled hard, dragging his handler forward. The forest felt heavy, oppressive, as if it knew what had been done inside it. Then someone shouted. A single word. Tree. Every officer converged, hearts pounding. They found her sister hanging low, rope tied clumsily over a thick branch, feet barely brushing the ground. She wasn't moving. For a split second, the world seemed to stop. Then everything exploded into motion. An officer lifted her body to relieve the pressure while another cut the rope. She collapsed into their arms, limp but warm. Someone yelled that she was breathing. Someone else started CPR anyway, refusing to take chances. Paramedics pushed through moments later, equipment flying open, hands moving with precision born of chaos. The girl's sister coughed suddenly, weak but real, and a sound ripped through the silence like a miracle. Oxygen was placed over her face. A medic shouted vitals. Another secured her neck. The girl who had begged for help collapsed to the ground sobbing, overwhelmed by the sound of life returning. As the ambulance doors slammed shut and sped away, the focus shifted instantly. This was now a manhunt. Officers spread out, locking down the area, searching for anyone who didn't belong. Footprints were found. Tire marks. A dropped phone. Evidence piled up fast, the kind criminals leave behind when they think no one is coming. Helicopters circled overhead, blades chopping the air, spotlights slicing through the trees. Suspects were found less than a mile away, hiding in an abandoned shed, hands shaking, faces pale. They tried to lie. They tried to say it was a joke, that they didn't mean it, that they thought she'd be fine. No one listened. They were cuffed hard, read their rights, and placed into separate cars, screams and excuses echoing uselessly into the woods they thought would protect them. Back at the hospital, the sisters were reunited. The older one was bruised, weak, voice barely a whisper, but alive. She gripped her sister's hand like she was afraid to let go, tears sliding silently down her face. Doctors said minutes had made the difference. If the girl had arrived any later, if officers had hesitated, the outcome would have been very different. News spread fast. Dozens of cops. A girl saved from a tree. A sister who refused to give up. By nightfall, the story was everywhere, but no headline could capture the sound of that first cough, or the way hardened officers quietly stepped outside to breathe after realizing how close it had been. In the days that followed, charges were filed, heavy ones. The suspects' families cried on courthouse steps. The sisters testified, voices shaking but steady enough. Officers filled the courtroom, not in uniform, sitting silently in the back. They're not as enforcers, but as witnesses to why they do what they do. The girl who ran into the station became a symbol, though she never asked to be. She was just a sister who refused to accept loss. She was proof that sometimes terror turns into courage without warning. And every officer who heard her scream that day would remember, for the rest of their careers, the sound that sent dozens of cops running, and saved a life that was seconds away from being lost forever.